In the first section of this course, we're going to build up our basics before tackling our first mini project on computational art. This chapter of the section will cover how we can use functions already built into the Wolfram language, as well as how we can use functions like set and setDelay to work with functions and variables we define ourselves. There are a lot of built-in functions in Wolfram language. This lets us get off to a quick start with a lot of basic computations once we understand the basic syntax for using a function. Since we're working with both built-in functions and, later in this section, our own functions, it's useful to know how to tell the two apart. Let's look at the example of list-line-plot. Built-in functions are often, though not always, a word or sequence of words. They'll always start with a capital letter and have every other word capitalized. Built-in functions will also show up as black as they're defined. Undefined functions and symbols show up in blue. So if you're using a built-in function, but the function name is showing up as blue, check to make sure you don't have any typos. Functions within Wolfram will have the same basic syntax regardless of whether they're user-defined or built-in. We use the function by writing out its name, then putting the inputs we want after the function name inside of square brackets. These arguments could be anything, but most functions will have a specific input type for the different arguments. Instead of square brackets, we can use the @ symbol before an argument, or we can use the double slash to write the function name after the argument. These can be useful when we have quick computations we want to do with only one input. But most often, we'll want to use the square bracket syntax, as it's usually easier to read and also easier for use with functions that have multiple arguments. We've now covered how we can use built-in computations, but what about making our own? To get started, we need to understand how to define things in Wolfram language, which starts with the function set. We could write out the full form of set like any other function, but we'll almost always use an equal sign. In our example, we write the symbol we want to define on the left of the equal sign, in this case x, and what we want to save to that symbol on the right. When we evaluate that code, the symbol will turn from blue to black, so now we know it's defined. We can then use that symbol to return the value we've saved. We can use a combination of letters and numbers to create variable names, but one common convention that's useful to stick to is not capitalizing the first letter. This makes it clear for both the computer and anybody reading the code that it's a user-defined variable, and we won't run into any conflicts with built-in symbols. setDelayed, which is represented by a colon followed by an equal sign, is another function that lets us save information to a symbol. However, setDelay does not immediately evaluate what we put on the right-hand side. Instead, we're saving that expression or piece of code to the variable, and then that code will evaluate later on when we call the variable. It's a little bit easier to see in action with some of the built-in functions that give random outputs. For example, each time we run the function random color with no arguments, we get back a different random color. If we use set to save the function random color to a variable, it will save the output from random color on that first evaluation of set, and every time we call the variable, we'll get that same color. If we use setDelayed instead, we'll be saving that chunk of code with random color to the variable, and that code will then be reevaluated every time we call the variable. This means with random color, it'll rerun that function each time and return a new color every time we call that symbol. Now that we can save a piece of code to a symbol, we can define our own functions. We'll be using the following syntax with setDelay to create our own functions. We start with a function name. Let's say the letter f. The function f is going to take some arguments that we put within square brackets. Let's say that f has one argument x. This argument name x is a placeholder, so while it's useful to make it a variable that makes sense with what it's representing, it could really be any symbol. After the argument x, we write an underscore, which we call a blank. Later on in the course, we'll talk a little bit more about what blank is and how we can use it. For creating our own functions, we mainly need to know that blank indicates any one thing. Together, x followed by a blank means that our function, f, takes in an argument that is any one thing that we're going to represent with an x in our definition. We're going to just use one argument for the function f, so we can then write out our setDelay with the colon and equal sign, and then whatever piece of code we want to save to f. We run our cell, and now we have a function. We can then give it an input, let's say 2, and get the output from our function for when x is 2. We can use this same syntax to create functions with multiple arguments by simply adding more arguments within the square brackets with different names. Let's add in the argument y to the function f, and now we have a function with 2 arguments. In this chapter, we've covered a really core skill for working in Wolfram Language. Before tackling the exercises for this section, you should now know how to use a function with square brackets, and know that you could also use a double slash or an @ sign. You've also seen how set lets us save information to a symbol, and set delayed lets us save a piece of code that will get reevaluated to a symbol. And, as we just covered at the end of this chapter, you now know the basics for defining your own functions using the general syntax of functions set delayed and blank.